Raw and Nerdy.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Raw and Nerdy. This is episode number 45. I am Joe the Widget, and I am joined by my fellow co-host, Archon.
What up, everybody? It's just the two of us today, so we're going to have to be at least 1.5 times as cool each, so...
Oh, that's easy.
Well, okay.
We got that covered.
All right, cool. Then we got this.
Rook got called into work this weekend for his weekend managerial shift, and since he's working evenings, it makes it kind of hard for him to show up to record.
Kind of a bummer the first weekend there. They're like, yep, you're on.
Yeah. Rook, man, we feel for you, dude.
Yeah. We miss you. Come back.
That's 2 shows in a row you missed. Well, not this one. I mean, the other show we do. But still, we had our 1-year anniversary episode for Starfield Raw last week, and I just noticed it was in your notes about that. So I'm going to hold off on that.
Well, I mean, we could talk about it. We're going to talk about it anyway, so...
Yeah, might as well, right? And we actually did a live recording, gave it a shot, opened up our normal recording channel that we have hidden in our Discord, and let people come in and participate in it. Wound up being a pretty long episode.
Yeah, it was so much fun, though. I thought it turned out so cool and so much fun. I mean, we had the whole trivia thing where people were like shooting off answers, and they were asking us questions, and just hearing feedback from the listeners and stuff. It was awesome.
Yeah, we've briefly talked about maybe doing that with this show, but this 1 year is not going to be episode 52 because we put extra episodes, and I think our 1 year on this one's like 56. Is it the extra ones? Something like that. I'll have to look it up, but it's still
the extra ones.
It's still like 10 to 12 weeks away.
Yeah, because we did like 2 episodes a week for like a month.
Yeah.
For WonderCon and stuff, so...
I'd look at the official, but it was a lot of extras.
Right. We're still a little ways away, but we'll do something fun. I thought that was really cool, and it was a bummer that Rook couldn't be there, so hopefully when we do the 1 year for this show, he can be here, because...
Yeah.
We'll have to make sure he is. He'll have to make sure he is.
So two of the things we're going to talk about today that are kind of set up on our topics is Enshrouded, because me and Archon have gotten back into it. I set up a server on it. We'll get into those details in a little bit. We just actually want to talk about the game. We've talked about it briefly, periodically on the show. We really want to give it its due justice, and we're going to talk about Gamescom Germany and why that's a big deal, and why if you're a gamer, you should think it's a big deal. Mm-hmm. We have a lot going around the news like usual, and we got our weeks in game. I'm so used to Starfield Raw. Our weeks in the nerddom.
In the nerddom.
I know you've been playing a lot of EQ. Every time I look over at Discord, I see Archon and EverQuest.
Yeah, I not only play EQ, but I double play EQ, because I generally have 2 computers rolling at the same time, and I'm playing 2 characters at once. Been playing a lot. There's a lot that I'm trying to get done and get to a spot where I feel comfortable before Thursday when the expansion releases.
Oh, that's coming up soon.
Yeah, it comes out next Thursday. Or this coming Thursday. And then I'm going camping Friday through Sunday when my guild's going to be doing like the first initial big push. So I'm going to miss a lot of it, which kind of sucks. But Thursday is the day when it opens, and then all the raid mobs are up, and we have to rush and fight all the other guilds to try and kill them first. So we're going to try and get as many of the targets as we can. It's going to be so much fun. I'm really excited. So
yeah, I was going to get on your case last night because I was in Enshrouded for most of the night on the server. I was like,
you should text me.
He's probably raiding or something. I thought you could see me, so I put in what I was playing on there. Figured you were raiding or something.
I didn't even have my Discord was up on one of my other screens or something, but I had like another tab over top of it, so I couldn't even see it. But yeah, you should have said something. I would have jumped on Enshrouded with you for sure. Because right now, I think we are raiding on Monday, but we're not going to do a Wednesday raid because of Thursday the launch. So we're just getting ready for the launch and everything, and yeah, it's going to be cool. I'm excited.
Even though that expansion came out many years ago, right? They're just redoing it on the server?
Yeah, the servers that I play on are called TLPs, which are timed lock progression servers. They start, this one started with just the base game and the first expansion unlocked. for 12 weeks, and then now every 8 weeks, basically, they release a new expansion. And then
That's
if it's
quicker
a
than I thought.
if it's a, yeah, if it's an expansion where there's actually a level increase, like once they get to the Planes of Power expansion, there's a 5 level increase, so that one will be 12 weeks. Yeah, but if there's no level increase, then it's only 8 weeks. But it's so much fun. There's a reason they refer to that game as Evercrack, because there's so much to do and it's all so time consuming. But I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's been a while since I've actually played the game from the start and then played through it. Like, I'd like to keep going with it as far as I can because I've never really played a lot of the expansions when they're relevant, so I'd like to try it and see. Be kind of fun.
Fair enough.
But other than that, I went and saw Deadpool and Wolverine again today.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it for the first time.
It
I
I
refuse
I
to go
love
alone.
I loved it even more the second time. Uh I took my wife this time. The first time I went and saw it alone, I took my wife this time. She did not love it. She was not a fan of the language or the innuendos, and I'm like, you've seen a Deadpool movie before, so why did you come see this one if those were going to be your gripes? Because you knew what you were getting into, but
Yeah, I'm a 45-year-old single guy, so it'd be if I want to go, it's gonna be me, myself, or I, and I kind of don't want to go see it alone.
it's worth it. It's worth it even to see it by yourself. If you were here, I would go with you for sure.
I
I'd
think
go
the
with her.
last three movies I've seen, I went by myself, and it was just not the same thing.
Well, listen, I don't feel bad for you because you had like a week and a half that you could have went and saw it with Rook, and you guys chose to sit there and play MLB The Show together instead, when you could have went to see it together. So I don't feel
we had
bad. You could have
we had
had
things to
somebody to go
do.
see it with.
We had things to do.
The show, that is not things to do.
Not just that, we were hanging out, but yeah, it wasn't on the top of my lit things to do.
Ugh.
I'm not a big Marvel person, and like I said before, I mean, I liked Deadpool 1 and 2. They were funny, but they weren't, exciting or awesome to me. I think there
I
was only
think
one spot on the first Deadpool where I laughed really hard. The rest of it was just kind of crude for the sake of being crude. And the second movie I found was a lot more funny. I enjoyed that one more.
yeah, this one I think is the funniest of the three, for sure.
But with Wolverine in there, I mean, yeah, I think that adds a lot more to it that would make me more interested. But again, I don't really want to go alone to go see it.
Come visit. I'll take you to go see it.
I might have to in the near future. We'll see.
Yeah, that would be amazing. And lastly, so everyone knows I've been going through the Wheel of Time books.
Yeah, I
I'm
think you've made that
still
known for like what,
long time,
10, 11, 12 episodes?
long time.
Yeah,
I'm
it's been a while.
still on the 12. Oh, sorry, got away from my mic a little there. I'm still on the same book. I'm taking my time with it because it's not as easy to listen to while I'm doing all this nonsense at work. But it's getting harder to put down. Like, the climax, it's coming more toward the climax of this book, and it's getting really, really hard to not. Like, even when I get home, I kind of want to listen, but then I'm like, no, that's not the point. The point is so that I can get through them while I'm at work. But man, I just
You
want
know,
to finish it.
I was thinking about something. Like, if this show ever became really, really, really popular, and our fan base grew, our listener base grew by a lot, I think I would want to do more of a regular live show with this show.
Dude, for
I
sure.
think having more people interacting with like these news stories, stuff like that, would be amazing.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
it's just a random thought.
Without fun though, without fun the episode was the other night, I would definitely be down for something like that. Even on Starfield Raw, doing that every now and then would be fun, just because it was a
Yeah,
blast.
every now and then that would be okay. I think it'd be more viable with a show like this, or even have like a call-in where they can call in and talk to us about certain things. But yeah, that's Semantics. We'll deal with that later.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that it would be cool with Starfield because then we could get like random listeners in and have them tell us their playthroughs. They hear about our playthroughs every week, but we never hear about other people's playthroughs. That'd be kind of cool.
That is our most popular show. And
But
we've had a lot of listeners asking us to do an Elder Scrolls based show, and I've been considering it. Even though a lot of those games are dated, the only one that's still currently relevant, other than Skyrim's always relevant, but is Elder Scrolls Online, which I do love that game. I had a blast when me
it
and
is a lot
Archon
of
were
fun.
playing it, and they have
It
a
is a
new
lot of fun.
expansion coming out now, and it's.
I
I've
think
been
it's
thinking
out,
about it.
isn't it? Isn't it
It
out
might
now?
it might be out now. I bought it too. I never logged in to play it yet. Because when we were playing
don't
it, I
have.
bought it. I pre-ordered it.
I didn't yet because I wasn't sure what the future held, and I don't have an active subscription at the moment. But that game was fun. It'd be really hard to play that game like alongside EverQuest though, because that's not one I could just log in for a couple minutes here and there.
I've
Like
been
with
thinking about
Enshrouded.
replaying. See, here's the thing. This is the thing that made me interested in the show more. Other than the fact that I did a show about Elder Scrolls, but it was Skyrim and Elder Scrolls Online based before Elder Scrolls Online came out. And I think I left the show like a few weeks after ESO came out, where I was kicked off the show because the owner of the company wanted more control and didn't want me as producer. Anyway, that's a whole different spiel. But I have actually never played Morrowind or Oblivion. I started playing them, but I never got into them and actually played them. And that would be something really fun I think I would like to do at some point.
Morrowind was my first Elder Scrolls game that I ever played. It was a lot of fun.
I was kind of first introduced to Elder Scrolls by employment. But that's something I won't talk about on the air.
If you play Morrowind, I will be upset with you though.
Why?
Because you said that the reason why you would never play EverQuest is because of how bad the graphics are.
There is
And
a rebooted Morrowind, by the way.
the graphics of Morrowind
And it's not just the graphics. The old
are very
the
similar.
old MMO playstyle, I really could not get into. It's very similar to what Final Fantasy XI was, and where you have to be grouped to get XP and stuff like that. And it's just a lot of those mechanics is what I'm not interested in. I was in San Diego for a couple days this last week for work, and I was really missing my new PC.
I bet.
I'm really in love with this thing. It's so pretty.
You got spoiled and then they took your candy away for a couple
Yeah,
days.
my candy I'm still tasting.
Yeah.
I'm going through all the flavors. I'm going to be upgrading the RAM to 64 gigs at least the next couple weeks, but it's expensive for Hyper-Thread DDR5. That's the newest and greatest. It was like I need to get two 32 gig chips, and that's going to cost me about 280.
Yeah, I would wait on that. You might have an expense coming up here pretty soon.
Yeah, I know. Well, since we started doing the servers, it made me think more about it because we started an Enshrouded server, and the fact that I have my own computer now, I can set the power settings to where it's always on. And it took me a couple hours or less to get the Enshrouded server figured out once I got the right document. Well, I'll get that. I'll talk about it in a little bit, but so I got a server up and running, and it runs flawless. Right now, we only have it set to 8 people because I don't know very many people that would be on it. My brother, I bought him the game, but turns out he can't play Enshrouded. His computer is not, his graphics card is not enough for it. It crashes the game, says it doesn't meet minimum requirements.
Yeah, my stepson's laptop is the same way. It won't let him play it.
You know, if I didn't need my laptop, I'd probably send it to my brother.
I thought about letting him play on my laptop. My stepson, if he wanted to play with us, let him play on my laptop. Because, I mean, right now I use it a lot with EverQuest. But if I was playing Enshrouded, I wouldn't be playing EverQuest on there. I can't play... I can play 2 characters of the same game at the same time, but I cannot play 2 different games at the same time.
You know
My
what?
brain does not function that way.
I rarely ever talk about my family on the air, but I'm the oldest of 8. I have 8 siblings. I have 2 brothers and 5 sisters. I grew up with 3 of those sisters. And I thought it was just going to be us 4 the rest of my life until my mom suddenly became pregnant when I was 13. And lo and behold, she had my first brother. And I was, as a kid, praying for a brother so bad. I was so tired of having to deal with sisters. And so Dan came into the world when I was 13. Tried to kill himself once by eating a whole bottle of vitamins as a kid.
Vitamins?
Those gummy vitamins.
Those can
He
kill
ate
you
half
if
of the
you eat
bottle.
too many vitamins?
Yep.
Huh.
So we had to go rush him to the hospital, get his stomach pumped and all that mess. And that was... But Dan has... we call him... I gave him the nickname as Boone. Because when I was younger, there was this Disney movie about Daniel Boone, the explorer, I was really into. So his name became Boone.
Oh, see, I thought it was something different.
Oh,
When
yeah?
I first heard Boone, I thought it was because you're a big fan of the Mortal Kombat franchise.
Well, I am. I am.
And Boone and Tobias are the two creators of
Yeah, and I know them
Mortal
both
Kombat.
personally. They're fantastic guys.
So that's where I thought you got the nickname from.
No, it came from that, from Daniel Boone.
Huh.
And it's just stuck. Like, I've given most all my siblings their nicknames that are still stuck today.
I mean, it makes sense since his name is Daniel. I mean,
So he's a very, very important person to me. He's going deaf. He's got the degenerative hearing disorder, degenerative hearing loss. So eventually he could become fully deaf. Right now his hearing's about 30%.
wow,
He,
I
he
didn't know
does
that.
wear a hearing aid when he remembers to do so, but coolest guy. And him and I got really close when right after high school, he asked if he could move down to Buffalo and stay with me for a while. Talked to my wife at the time and we agreed, so he came down and lived with us for about 3 years. Got to know him very, very well. And then he was in Bakersfield. He actually roomed with me in Lancaster for a while because he needed a place to stay, but that's getting into a whole another mess. Anyway, him and I got really close. And then he met a lady online, and they saw each other once for 1 week in person, and next thing I know, he's moving out across the country to go live with her.
Wow.
I thought it was an absolute terrible idea at the time. I thought he was being dumb about it, but lo and behold, he asked her to marry him this year.
Nice.
And of course, she said yes, so I am very happy for him. I am so glad he's happy. And honestly, if I didn't need my laptop, he'd be the first person I sent it to. But at last, I do need my laptop still. A long story just for that.
That's what this show is about, man.
Yeah. And I was thinking about the servers. Like, I can do so many different servers. We've had several different times where we get into these survival games in particular, which require dedicated servers to play. We could do them all. We could play Ark Survival. We could do this, this, and that. And I can just pop in a server. And it also reminded me about my Minecraft server that I still want to finish one of these days and build.
The only
That you
problem
helped me with
that,
for a while.
the only problem with that is besides the Minecraft server, all the rest of them cost a fee to run these servers.
No, they don't.
What?
Not when I run them on my computer, they don't.
When I was running the Enshrouded server, I had to pay for it.
No, I'm not paying a dime for it. Because I'm using their because what every company does is they have a dedicated server setup that you can put, and it's already downloaded into your game, your library in Steam. You just gotta look for it. You download that and you do the whole server setup yourself, and you host it right on your own computer. It doesn't cost a dime. It's free. I can do that with Ark. I can do that with Power World. Any other game.
No wonder I was wondering why you were struggling getting it set up a little bit at first, like because you weren't doing it the way I did it.
No, I didn't go through a company. I completely hosted it from my computer, and I can do that with any of those survival games that we'd want to play together.
Dude, that's sweet. All right,
That's why I want to
all
upgrade my
right.
RAM so I could host servers with more people easier without it getting in the way of everything else I'm doing. Like right now, the Enshrouded server is only set for 8 players. So if all 8 players were on right now, my computer wouldn't even notice it. It's only using about 4 gigs of my DDR5 or less, actually, because it's DDR5, to run it properly. So I'm not worried about it. I think I could run a maximum of 2 servers with my current RAM without causing me any of the issues of everything else I'm doing. I can run 2 servers of 16 players each and be fine. If I go to 64 gigs, I can run up to 4 servers with like 20 to 50 players per server.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
Like I could actually run the Minecraft server and the Enshrouded server at the same time and it wouldn't hurt it. I just don't turn my PC off. I keep it powered on. I do got to restart my computer periodically. That's, useful, but
Yeah, that is cool too. Plus, like, for instance, with our server, when we dropped our Enshrouded server, now I don't have any of that world anymore. So I don't have any of those crafting stations, any of that stuff that I had before. It's all gone. And I never really progressed on my single player game because I always played on that server.
well, with how powerful your main character is, you should be able to progress pretty easily on your single if you wanted to.
What are you talking about? Oh, you mean my main guy? Yeah,
Yeah, or whatever
I don't even
character.
remember how to play him, so I had to start over. But
I did play No Man's Sky a little bit this week, and it is a good game. There's a lot of updates they did to it, but I just got too caught up with other things with my new toy, like Starfield in all its ultimate glory, And I've been playing Enshrouded a lot. I started playing Baldur's Gate 3 last night. Then I forgot I couldn't remember how to play my character. That's almost done with Act 2, so I was getting my butt whooped. So I'm thinking if I'm going to continue that game, I'm going to have to make a new character again.
Yeah, again.
Or at least until I get back used to the mechanics, and then I can hop over that and beat it. But I might do it again because it is a blast, and I've been really, really wanting to beat that game. I haven't gotten to Act 3 yet.
If the opportunity were to arise where we could play that game sitting in the same room together, I would play it with you.
Hey, you never know where the future holds, my friend. Okay, so I finished the audiobook going home. I mentioned it last week. It's that survival book that one of our listeners recommended. And it was a decent book. The narrator doing the female voices was terrible. But other than that, he did a really good job with it. But I don't know, it's not really my cup of tea. I'm more into the whole fantasy sci-fi books, and that's what I'm going to stick with. And me and my infinite wisdom decided to get Jake's Magical Market 3. And if you guys remember, when I listened to the second book, I hated it. It went so far away from the first book. The first book was really, really good. And the mechanics and what he did with that first book was fantastic. Then he went completely away from it in the second book. Way, way out of left field. Wasn't even the same book. A new narrator and all that. It was just terrible. And the main character in the first book was a bit of he wasn't a genius. He wasn't a very smart, intelligent dude, and a scaredy cat over everything, which irked me a little bit, but, it was believable. Second book, he was way worse. They changed the mechanics of, the magical system in that book 3 times, which drove me insane. So I got the third book because the title of the third book is Home Sweet Home. So I'm really hoping he gets to go back home and it gets back to the original side of it, but 3 chapters in, and I was already swearing and yelling at my phone in my car while trying to listen to this book because he's even more dumb. He's even more of a moron. He's a scaredy cat, big time, and he's supposedly a god now. Yeah, it's driving me insane. So we'll see. I may or may not get through this book. I doubt it. So I'm gonna think about some other series to start reading or listening to. Because my favorite series is they all don't have a book out yet, so I'm in limbo.
You listen to The Wheel of Time.
I thought about it. I have the first book on audiobook.
So good.
I have so many books. I think I have 4 credits still.
Yeah.
Because I've been re-listening to I re-listened to Beware of Chicken a couple times. I want to listen to the third book again. Heretical Fishing's been interesting, and I just saw that their book 3 is on pre-order, but it doesn't say when it's coming out. That one's fun. Those books are actually fun. And I did get the second book for Beards and Beer, that dwarf one I was talking about. Yep. Lit RPG. So I'm gonna probably listen to that. I'm getting a little tired of lit RPGs though. So let's get in to some Enshrouded talk.
Well, before we do that,
yeah,
I just want to bring up one of the things on our list here, because
by all means,
if you're an avid listener to the show, then you would know that this weekend a movie came out that Wigit and I have been really looking forward to because we're huge fans of the series, and that's Borderlands.
Yep. And it released as a total, complete failure. Piece
of garbage. Neither one of us. As I said, I went and saw Deadpool and Wolverine again today. I'm not going to go to the theaters to watch this one. I'll probably...
If I lived near Archon, I would probably drag him over to the theater just to watch it, just for the heck of seeing a bad movie. Yeah.
Just for the show.
But, yeah, I refuse to see that one alone.
We already have a bad track record. I mean, at WonderCon, when I came out for WonderCon, we've only seen one movie together, and that was Ghostbusters.
And it was a failure.
Frozen Empire, bad. And that one we just made fun of the whole thing afterwards. So
what happened with Borderlands right now, for the critics, okay, so it's opening day. It made a whole whopping $4 million, which is 4% of its budget. And the opening weekend was $8.8 million. 8% of its budget.
Yeah, I don't see this one doing well. a rom com, that new Blake Lively movie. What is that? I don't remember what it was called,
Oh, I don't know.
but that killed it. Absolutely killed it in the box office. It's like, oh, that's so
Yeah,
sad.
I think a lot of what happened to do with Borderlands is we all knew that the casting choices were terrible. They put in some big name actors just trying to get sales on it and did not even think about the franchise. They didn't think about anything, and it was a total failure. But see, like I read Rotten Tomatoes. I don't like the actual critics. I like the actual people reviews.
Yeah, user reviews.
And there, some of them were interesting because some of them are like they were talking about how I'm a huge Borderlands fan and the aesthetics. It was their biggest draw of that movie was seeing the Borderlands world in a cinematic universe, seeing it on the big screen. That's what their draw was. And they said that Claptrap was good and Craig was good, but everything else was poo poo. This and everyone was very was pretty much on the same page when it came to story. They said the story was confusing, didn't follow the games very well, and it was just terrible.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say at this point, after the first weekend, that we're probably not going to get a Borderlands 2 movie.
Nope. Not unless some other studio picks it up and actually knows what the heck they're doing.
If they reboot it and do it better.
I don't know what they were thinking. I'm so disappointed. I mean, it got 9% on Rotten Tomatoes when I checked before the show. It's
Yeah.
a 4.4 out of 10 on IMDb and a 27% Metacritic score, which is not the it's not the worst movie ever made, but it's in the bottom 10.
Which is really sad because we were really looking forward to this.
I was.
We knew it was going to be bad though. I mean, remember when we like heard that like the director or whatever like walked out in the middle of production or something and just
And they had to
left.
rewrite the script,
And
and the main writer didn't want his name on the credits and all that kind of stuff. And I was
yeah,
just
I
gonna take
mean,
it as just hoopla, but turns out, I guess it was true.
yeah, kind of a bummer. But
Yeah.
all right, Enshrouded. Let's talk Enshrouded.
So I got the server up and running. And the
Yeah.
thing about Enshrouded is it's a survival game, but it has really heavy elements of RPG in it. And some of the mechanics that they do with this game are a lot different than other survival games, and they do it very well. Like there's these, not the professions, but what do they call them? Survivors
Yeah,
that are
survive.
specialized in certain things, like a blacksmith, a carpenter, an alchemist, that kind of thing. And you have to go unlock them and then put them in your base, and they require housing, warmth. So you got to build a place for them. And from them, you can get quests and you can actually craft specialized items based on them. And they'll ask you to go find certain things for them, like a crucible for the blacksmith, and you can't smelt anything until you find that. Then you can start
Yeah,
smelting copper and things like that. So it's very progressive on that in the progression ways. The RPG elements are heavily focused around combat.
and the combat system is amazing. I love the combat
Yeah,
system in that game.
it's so much fun. I first time I played an archer, a ranger, and I went down that a lot, and that was a different way of playing. But now I'm playing I'm going berserker with my guy, by the way. So massive
Oh,
two-handed, and
I'm
it's a
going
different
tank.
play style.
Yeah, I'm going like the first time I played, I did like full caster. I was just a straight caster,
And he
and
melted
I
everything.
melted everything. They were broken. Like I think from what I've saw and like the balancing and stuff, they've kind of balanced it a bit, but like casters were broken. You could walk in with this one acid spell and just absolutely destroy everything. I don't know if it's still that way because this time I went tank class.
And the big thing about this game is that they are actively developing it. When we first bought it, it was when it first got released on early release. It hit 1 million players its first week, and they recently just celebrated their 3 million player mark. So huge congrats to you guys. They're an
Yeah.
indie studio. They're doing fantastic. If they keep building the game how they've been building it, they got it set. And it's a
The
huge
one
map.
Oh gosh, the map is, and you can't even unlock most of it yet.
Yep.
There's still so much of it you're not even able to unlock. But the one thing about the game, it's got a unique feature as far as survival games go that other ones don't. That I really like, but at the same point I don't.
What's that?
It's kind of a double-edged sword, and that's the fact that your character is your character. Like
Yeah.
you could in your single player game, you could play your character, and then you could take that same character and bring it to the server. You don't have to start a new character on a new server type of thing.
Right.
I like that because I like that you get to keep your progression. But at the same point, as we noticed when we first opened, I don't like that you can bring things over.
Oh
Like
yeah.
you
A
could
little
just come
cheaty.
over and be like way OP. Like
Yeah.
we have a friend named Chris that came over and like he was he was giving me so much crap because I had like the necks from beginning tier up armor that only took us on our
You have the
server.
third stage, by the way.
Okay, so it's the third stage, but before we were even done playing that first night after a couple hours, we had it unlocked where we could make it. So it's not like it
No,
was
we
that far
couldn't
into the
make it.
game.
I just
Yes,
got
we
the ability
could.
to make it today because you need to have
Well, you need to have the
linen
smelter. We didn't,
and smelter.
right?
Both those required more advanced things to get that I had to go into level 11 areas to get to.
Okay, well, if you went to the blacksmith, he offered the option to make it. We just couldn't make the things to make it quite yet.
And the
But it
things to
was
make
there.
it though were a lot more progression and took me a little while to get.
Right, but what I'm saying, my point is that it was there. We just couldn't quite make it yet, but it was already unlocked and could be made if we had the means to make the materials. That's what I'm saying. So it wasn't that great of armor. It's like mid-tier armor, and he was making fun of me. Yeah, as soon as you logged off that night, all of a sudden he walked in front of me in like full level 25 gear. He had
Oh
it the whole
jeez.
time in his bag. He just didn't put it on until you logged off. And I'm like, dude, that's not, I mean, that makes the new server not fun because like you got one person who's just like stupid powerful. They could just unlock
I
everything
wish
super
I could
easy.
set a lock on it to where if you bring a character over, they come over completely naked with nothing. Or
Yeah, that would
where
be
you can
nice.
set a server where they have to create a new character.
Yeah. See, on that server in that situation, I was only level what 4 when I joined the server, 4 or 5.
5, yeah.
So I didn't think, and I had earned everything that was on that guy. I didn't get it from any high levels or anything like that. Like that was on a brand new server that I had made that I leveled him. So I was like, I can bring this stuff over. It's no problem. It's only like 1 day's worth of stuff. But they were giving me so much crap about it.
We had to get on your case a little bit.
Yeah.
And you know, the thing about this game as well is that you don't have to just play single player or go play on a public server. But you can also do a game with your buddies or a friend of yours. I mean, the only thing about that is that they have to be online at the same time as you or you can't play in that world.
Yeah. If they're not hosting a server, then you have to be online at the same time.
Yeah.
But the one thing they used to have a feature in the game where once it was unlocked on the server, it was unlocked, and if you missed out on unlocking it, well, sucks to be you. You should have been online helping.
Yeah.
But in one of their first patches they did to the game, a lot of people complained about that, so they actually changed that to where even if it's unlocked on the server, you can still go through and do those quests and get the experience and experience the quest line.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty cool.
That was one of my biggest complaints because you were on the game a lot more than I was when we first started playing, so I missed out on almost everything.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I
I
know.
didn't have the option to go do it. So I had to go take that character to a single player game just to do it.
Yeah, see, in my mind, the first time we went through, in my mind, I was like, well, let's get everything unlocked, and then we can actually enjoy the game by being able to build all the stuff. But Joe's like, well, I wanted to experience all that, and I didn't get to, so it kind of sucked. But
Now it's
yeah,
different. I got to
yeah,
experience all of it from what it used to be because we were playing before the big 3 updates they did. So they've done 3 major updates and I think
yep,
18 smaller updates they've done to the game, fixes. But the major ones have added a lot to the game. Like I've noticed the new weapon type is the dual daggers.
yep.
That
They got
wasn't in
like
the original.
a roguish type thing, which is pretty cool.
And they've
Yep.
added a whole other area to the map that's mid-range, I think. I haven't seen it or don't even know where it's at. I think it's north of the main forest.
Yeah, it's way up at the north.
I didn't see any changes to the skill tree. I was hoping they would add more to it, but so far it's the
Uh,
same.
is it the same? Because they have like a whole backstab thing, like a rogue type thing.
Well,
I
they
thought
had
maybe they
assassin
added that
and
with the
ranger there
thing.
before,
Oh,
because I did that with my ranger. I went on both trees.
gotcha.
Yeah, they added a whole lot more cosmetic crafting. I've noticed that. Like, you can create flower pots and all kinds of decoration stuff that were not in the game before. And they did move
Yeah,
some things around and made it easier. So it's,
I did notice that, like, for instance, the exploding arrows thing, you're like, how do you have
yep,
those already? But they made those a lot easier to get. You could get them at lower levels and they're easier to make. I noticed that there's a lot more cosmetic things that you could make,
a lot.
like
Which is
Hobbit
cool,
doors
because
and
one
all
of the
kinds of cool
best things
stuff.
about this game is the crafting aspect of it, or the
Oh,
building.
yeah.
The fact that you can modify the terrain is
Hmm.
incredible. Like, you can get a hoe that you can raise or lower the land and flatten it out, or you can, like, the first thing I did, because they added Hobbit doors, so the round doors in the game, is I put our base near a hill so I can go in there and dig it out and build a little Hobbit hole.
Make yourself a little hobbit hole. We could build Hobbiton.
Which was awesome. So I did that, and I love this about the game. Like, if you can't reach something on a cliff face, dig your path up. Dig
Right?
up some stepping stones up, and you can tunnel through the mountain if you wanted to, if you had enough time and patience to do it. That's one of my favorite features of the game.
Is yeah, being able to like terramorph the landscape and stuff. That's really cool. I like that. Basically, like your Age of Conan or whatever,
Hmm.
but with like a Minecraft aspect to it, which I really like.
Yeah, and it's not blocky. So
Yeah, it's
you
not
got
blocky.
you can very specifically alter the terrain to your liking, and it's a blast. And I actually really enjoy having to build the buildings for the different crafters, NPCs.
Yeah,
And I
and if
built
what you said is true, like we can have the crafting NPCs in different towns as well. That'll be really cool
that's one of the things. I think it was the
because
second major update where they allowed you to put them in different areas, not just one now.
yeah, that would be pretty cool because then we could have like multiple towns. Because I know before it was like you as you move to the different areas, they get progressively harder.
Hmm.
So like once we'd out level one area, we'd have to just basically get rid of that town
Yeah, I
completely
was thinking
and
about
remake a
that.
new town and move everything over. And
We could do like themed areas now. Like, we can have one of our bases
yeah,
on the side of a mountain and just build like this
it was kind of like what
pathway
we
and
were
holes
doing on Age
everywhere.
of Conan. It was like it's the same thing. As you get
Yep.
further in, they get harder. So you got to like keep moving your bases over and over. And if we could do that without having to move everything, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. And before you just had to move the NPC, and it would just go to whatever base you put them at. But now
Yeah,
you can have them in multiples, which is going to be very, very useful.
right.
And I built a farm on our server today for the
Well,
farming later, and I got the carpenter unlocked, so I put him up top.
nice. But yeah, another thing was like once you moved the NPC, then there was no point in having all your materials and stuff there, so you had to move all your materials and stuff over too. But now if you have like different areas, you can have like one be like a lower level crafting area, one be like a mid-range crafting area, and like you don't have to just you
And
can
it's a really
keep your
good jumping
materials
point.
in
If
the
you want
base.
to go and do stuff in a new area, you can just go to that whatever town we have set up there, and you could home base it there for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing they added a whole lot of dungeons to the game.
Yes. I'm
They have
excited. I haven't ran any of
instanced
them yet.
dungeons, by the way.
Yeah, we got to run those together. I
Yes.
wonder what you get for like beating them and stuff.
I'm
I'm
really
really
curious
curious.
about that. And I do know that they have level 30 in-game gear in there.
So we're gonna play some Enshrouded tonight, huh?
Yep.
I'm gonna have to jump on it. I'm done.
Yeah.
But
I I just got to edit the show, but it won't take too long.
yeah, you're a
So,
pro at that now.
yeah. So Gamescom Germany is by far the biggest gaming convention in the world. It used to be E3, but E3 closed their doors, and I don't still know the exact details why they did that. I know they were hurt pretty bad by COVID and all that, but it doesn't make any sense. And that's where all the major companies would do all their showcases and announcements every year was at E3. Now they're all moving it over to Gamescom Germany. And that's coming up August 21st through the 25th. So it's coming up very soon, like
Couple
10
weeks, yeah.
days,
We're
yeah.
gonna probably have a lot of information on it.
I'm fully expecting to do an episode on Gamescom and just knock it out because they have 1,448 game companies are confirmed to be there, with notable ones like Bethesda. They have a major showcase going on, and that starts on August 21st. And one of the things about Bethesda that's really cool is that under the feature games, Starfield, Shattered Space is a featured game.
Yeah, it's one of the featured games. And they actually, when I was looking at the events, they have a showcase Bethesda does every single day. So they're going to be up there talking and showcasing things every day.
Which is interesting. I'm not sure what else they can really showcase. Oh, they're going to announce Elder Scrolls 6. Give us our first look at it. They've got some new stuff coming out for Fallout 76.
I have actually, I just read, gosh, I should have bookmarked that. I was reading it earlier today before we were looking for news, but they were saying something about like concepts and something got leaked about Fallout 5 too.
Oh, that game's early development.
Right.
Because Bethesda tends to focus on particular games at a time. The reason why Elder Scrolls 6 has been delayed for so long is because of Starfield. They wanted that game finished and out. They put all their manpower into those games. They have a skeleton crew working on these individual games, doing design and concept. They really don't dive into development until they get the teams freed up. So I'm expecting to hear that, because I know Elder Scrolls 6, they've already confirmed it's going to be the next game after Starfield. So we're waiting on that. And heck, if they do announce it, and it's coming a lot sooner than we think, maybe I will do an Elder Scrolls show.
Yeah. I think we would. If that game comes out, we probably will do a show on it.
For sure. We could do a show months and months before it does come out. We can play all the old games, get ESO going, and stuff like that. But anyway, that's neither here or there. So they have Blizzard going to be there, Capcom, EA, SNK, Sony, Pokemon Company, Ubisoft, and a whole lot. And the only Nintendo company I saw was Pokemon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of those other developers develop for Nintendo as well, though.
But one of the biggest draws with Nintendo is their first-party development.
Right.
But Bethesda seems like they're taking over Gamescom.
Yeah, they have
They've got
a
huge
lot
presence.
of stuff, which is crazy because they just did their own QuakeCon, like, now. Speaking of which, I haven't heard anything from Rook about that. What, did he go yesterday?
He didn't go. He had to work. Yep.
I thought he bought his ticket and everything.
But he couldn't go because he had to work. So that really sucks. And they're going to have a Resident Evil feature on the 23rd, if that's your thing. I played Resident Evil 2 and 4. Only ones I've ever played. And I really like 2.
Oh, dude. 4 is really good. Village is amazing. I've played through Village so many times. And Resident Evil Biohazard or whatever, I think the one before Village, I have that one on my VR. And you haven't played Resident Evil until you've played it in VR. It is much fun in VR.
I want a VR set again. I had a PlayStation VR, which my ex still has it, but that thing's outdated now. But still,
that's what I have.
One of my favorite games on VR is that Beat Saber. I don't like rhythmic games, but that one I loved.
Dude, I have Beat Saber.
Okay, yeah.
I have Beat Saber.
There's one song I could beat on nearly the hardest difficulty, but it makes me sweat every time. It's so good.
Not only do we have Beat Saber, but we have like all of the song packs unlocked for it, including the Imagine Dragons sound pack.
Yeah, I had that one too.
Yeah.
And Thunder was very difficult to do.
Yeah. My daughter is freakishly good at that game. I don't understand. Like I'm sitting there playing them on hard, and it's hard. I'm sweating it up. She's over here. I'm like expert, just like.
I got to the point
around
where I could beat almost every song on hard, but I was starting to get to where I could actually start beating them on expert, particular ones. So, but then of course.
Yeah, how long ago was this?
And I don't have it.
How long ago was this?
Over 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say maybe the age set in now.
Hey, now.
Like I've noticed my hand-eye coordination isn't what it used to be. Plus, with my shoulder,
I have 30.
I don't know if I can play Beat Saber right now.
I have over 30 years of martial arts, so I'm not as rusty as most men my age. Still got some mad skills going on.
This is true.
And if you want to go to Gamescom, guys, it would. You can. There's still weekday tickets are available. It costs about $50 US, so almost 30 euros. And however, though, the flight and hotel will cost you about $5,000. So if you have the money to do it, go. And you have a passport, go.
About $5,000, yeah.
Yeah, no big deal. The flights themselves, I saw that the cheapest one was a 24-hour flight, and would run you $1,100. Every other flight was around $2,500 to $2,600.
I love how biased you are. It's so funny because I'm looking at your notes here, and you're like, you're like, oh yeah, looks like the only notable game that's under the featured is Starfield. Like, let's just not pay attention to Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred on there. That's like
Yeah,
one of the
because
biggest games
most
coming out
people
this
don't
year.
pay attention to that.
That's like one of the most anticipated games of October.
No,
Uh-huh.
there's very well, well, to be honest, there's very few games coming out in October.
True. But since the Season 4 update,
I
Diablo
saw
4 finally
the
got
player
decent.
numbers have not been the best, man.
The game got decent though. I mean, it got a lot better after the Season 4 update. I
I
haven't
read some
seen much.
reviews recently, and they're still not the greatest.
I heard Season 5 had a game-breaking bug where you could like kill one guy and get like 37 levels in one kill.
I'm sorry, Brett. I love the Diablo series, especially 3, but 4 ruined it. They jaded me the wrong way. It's not gonna. I don't know if I can get over that.
Well, to be fair, a lot of people didn't care for 3 when it first came out either.
No, it wasn't good, but they did rebuild it. So hopefully in
And
a
that's
year or
what they're
two they'll have
trying
this
to
one
do.
rebuilt.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do with this one, and maybe Vessel of Hatred will help. I just watched the trailer video, the new one they just put out the other day. I just watched it like before recording. Man, I want Blizzard to just make a movie. Like their cinematics are on point.
They've
They are
always been
good.
so good at that.
They
It's
should
one thing
make
I give
like
them
a
credit for.
they should make like a Diablo mini series or something. That would be sweet. Like with just all their cinematics and stuff, just make like a little Diablo movie. I would watch it.
So I think we're going to have to pick and choose our news articles. We're getting a little low on time.
Okay, I'm down with
So,
that.
yeah, I want you to bring up yours, though, because yours are a lot better than ones I brought up.
Well, one for sure I want to bring up because I thought it was really cool. It was kind of a heartwarming story. So, Mojang Studios and Hive Games developed a private Minecraft server that's dedicated just for the Seattle Children's Hospital. So the kids can play in a safe and monitored environment, and they actually have a building in the on the server that is a full replica of the hospital. So the kids, if they're like, not able to leave their rooms, they can actually like, leave their rooms in the game and go explore around the
I
hospital
think
and
the whole
stuff.
point of this was to get him away from the whole hospital environment. Why are they putting him right back into it?
Well, no, it's like giving them a chance to like, okay, so like they're stuck in the hospital and kids they like to explore and stuff, but they like if they're bedridden and can't get out of their room, like it gives them a chance to get up and explore and then I mean they can leave that area and go to different areas and stuff too, but it's like obviously it's fully monitored. The goal of the project was to make kids feel more comfortable while they're in an uncomfortable situation, obviously.
Yeah, I think this is
And
brilliant.
they said they said that the server was meant to be a form of therapeutic gaming intended to help improve the patient's time at the hospital and quote unquote provide opportunities for socialization, education, and rehabilitation.
Honestly, Minecraft is a legend in itself. I mean, no other game has been used for such a wide variety of things and gone on for so long with a huge fan base than that game. Like that game came out nearly 20 years ago.
Right. And if you
And
go on YouTube and look at some of like the highest viewed, highest watched like creators,
mhm.
it's all people who are sitting there playing Minecraft.
Yeah,
It's so many of them are just people playing Minecraft.
the Minecraft podcast I did years ago was one of my favorite things I've ever done. It was so much fun. And just the player base is still strong. They keep improving the game constantly, and there's just so much you can do with it.
Right.
Like we're building a server. It's a complete MMORPG. We put class systems in and all kinds of bosses and things like that don't exist in the game, and it's possible.
Just building cities and stuff from the ground up, villages. Oh, dude.
And some of the things
No.
that people have done in that game are absolutely insane.
It's not going to be too long before I decide that we need to get back to that
Yeah.
because
Schools got into it to where we had so much fun playing Minecraft together. Like that
hours,
one city we
hours.
built just for fun on that one server that wasn't
Oh,
the and we played
dude.
on the what was it, the not the Java edition but the other edition that you can play on consoles. We did that for a little while. That was fun. I remember building my first under cavern building area and
Oh, yeah. We had that area. I forgot
mhm.
about that one too. And then I know the one that you were talking about with the big city we built. Like I remember building that whole big giant dock area that was
Yep.
just So cool.
That town was actually really cool. We did a really good job with it. I wish we could have saved it, but
I know.
oh well. I've had so many things I built in Minecraft that I wish I could have saved. I built a full dragon that it was my first real organic build, so it had all the curves and everything like that, and that took me
Oh,
several weeks to build it.
what was it? What was it that I built in our that one server? It was like a portal to the Nether, but you like went into like a dragon's mouth or something like a skull.
Oh, the
It was like
skull,
a
yeah.
skull's mouth
Isn't that
where
on
you like
our MMO server?
no. That
Hmm.
was on the one that you were talking about on like the other version of Minecraft that we
Oh,
play.
right, yeah, yeah.
It was down in your little tunnel area.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. The little present you gave me. And it was
Uh-huh.
coming. It was my minecart track that went out to the surface. That's where
Uh-huh.
you put it when it came in the tunnel.
That thing was cool.
That game is so much fun, and it's the only game I know of that has been used for in schools for educational purposes, teaching
Right,
engineering and things like that. It's
and it's a game that like really no matter how old you are, you could play it. Like I could sit there and play that game with my kids for hours.
I remember when I was living in Buffalo, New York, and I had opened my dojo, and some of my new students that came in that lived in that same town, they were like, "Yeah, we're playing this new game called Minecraft. It's on alpha right now." And I looked at it, and I went up to their place, and I looked at it, and it was like, "Well, this thing's kind of garbage. Blocks? Seriously? Who wants to play a game with these graphics?" And then 3 months later, I'm in it, and I'm addicted.
Oh, I know. It's one of those games where you're like, oh, I'm just gonna build a house real quick, and then like 9.5 hours later, you're like, oh crap, it's
Well,
been
there's
nine and
my
a half
mansion with
hours.
my road and my ship out to sea. It's all kinds of
I
things.
just built a whole town. Oops.
My bad. What's this with Bungie?
Um, so Bungie, who used to be a very large company that was known for like, didn't they make like Halo and stuff like that?
Oh yeah.
Well, now they're being completely restructured by Sony SIE. They only have like 100, or they only have like 850 employees that are actually Bungie employees left, and they're completely allocated to just a game called Marathon and Destiny 2. That's it. Any of the other games that they used to make or subsidiaries and stuff, SIE has absorbed them. They're all being done by SIE development teams now. So
The video
Bungie's
game industry is in such a shift right now. It's unreal.
it's just crazy to think that the developer that brought you Halo is like selling out and like
Yeah, the
basically
game
gone
industry
now.
is getting really, really wonky. I think a lot of it has to do with the cost of developing these AAA titles, but also the fact that indie studios are doing so well and becoming so popular. It's just it becomes less cost effective for them, and it's shifting the industry completely, which stinks because I still want my AAA titles.
Right.
I don't want
I
to. I don't
mean,
want a bunch of indie games.
I even though I mean we've talked about this before, I'm not exactly the biggest fan of the Halo series. I've never
Me
really played
neither.
it that much.
Never liked it.
I was a big fan of the Destiny series. I played Destiny 1 and 2 like
Yeah,
crazy.
I play Destiny 2.
I love those games. I really, really was into 1. So,
I vaguely remember one. I did play a lot of Destiny 2 when it came out. I didn't play any expansions or anything like that. I haven't played it since, but it was a good game.
it's fun. It's very Borderlands-esque. It's like Borderlands in space, kind
So
of.
I'm going to bring up only one of my articles. The other two is just me complaining about things, so I'm not going to bring them up.
Okay.
NASA is developing another space telescope. It's called the Nancy Grace Roman Telescope, and it's based off of a Roman telescope design. And it is scheduled to be deployed in 2027 and will be positioned in a middle sun Earth orbit. And the whole purpose of this telescope is the interesting thing. For one, is being NASA had contracted SpaceX to develop the telescope and build it based on NASA's designs. It will be launched with a different set of sensors and objectives than what the James Webb telescope is used for, and will mostly be used to study cosmology and exoplanet. Now, the thing about exoplanet cosmology is that basically what this is that its main mission is to seek out new life. The whole
And new
purpose.
civilizations to
So
boldly go
I
where
put a
no
little
one has
note
gone.
in the notes. They should have simply called it the Star Trek scope. But
Yeah.
it's awesome, and again, we've got a couple of years, and they're going to launch another massive telescope. I'm curious if other nations are going to start doing that as well, because this is the way to go. If they can take a telescope and they can launch it further, even farther than James Webb out, and still be able to maintain battery life with, you know, solar and stuff like that, they can see some amazing things. Already, James Webb has produced untold amount of discoveries and new data and information that is incredible. So this one is going to be very interesting to see what the Nancy Grace comes up with, especially with what its main purpose is.
That would be interesting because, like, I mean, just imagine, like, if they ever do, and I know that the odds are very slim, but if they ever do find intelligent life somewhere else, it changes everything. Everything.
Well,
Like it will rock us to our core. It will literally change everything to find another intelligent life out there.
I read a very interesting article recently today about the whole UFO phenomenon, and they recently unclassified Roswell files and how people are still debating it, even though it was just an experiment. But still, I'm not getting into that because we'll get a lot of controversy over this. But
right,
I'm like 99.999% sure that the first life they're going to find, if it exists, is going to be microbial. It's going to be tiny, microscopic. It's going to be at least hints at that kind of life. The odds of finding flora is far greater than fauna. And that has the greatest odds of finding something, like whether it be microbes or it could be fungus. Because fungus can develop and grow outside of oxygen. And, well, what we know of life as it is based on carbon form. But, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what they come up with.
they're gonna find space cockroaches out there somewhere.
Oh, that has to exist. Those things survive through anything.
They hitched a ride on one of our first things that we sent out, and they just reproduced out there somewhere.
It was a complete planet completely covered of cockroaches just eating themselves to survive.
That are like the size of humans.
On these giant, like, 7-story mushrooms that exist there on this planet.
Nice.
You guys probably figured out, I am so fascinated with space. It's not even funny.
You just combined the movies Sonic 2 and Men in Black together with the giant cockroaches on the mushroom planet. That's awesome. I love the way our brains think.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's why we make a podcast, so we can scare everybody else.
Haha.
All right. Anything else you want to bring up before we wrap it up tonight?
I don't think so. I think we're pretty above our time at the moment. So
Yeah, we are. If you guys want to reach out to this show for business, advertising, podcastraw@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on Twitter, it's at podcastraw. Our Facebook is Raw Podcast. Our Instagram
is Raw Podcast 1.
I don't know why I cannot do that myself. It's a thing now.
It's gotta be either. Well, usually it's Rook, but today it's me.
Our Discord, the place to be. We have video games. We have discussions about everything, including fitness, as we've talked about on the show before. Discord.gg/Raw Podcast. If you don't know what Discord is, look it up, find it, join it, and come join the community. It's all mostly chat-based community, but we do have voice channels that you can get in and talk to me and one of the other hosts or other like-minded people. Like we have Dr. Tiki in one of our channels right now. He's one of our regulars. And you can follow us individually. Oh, before I do it, discord.gg, as in Greg, /Raw Podcast, plural, CASTS. Individually, you can find me at The Wigit, THEWIGIT, on everything. If you're looking for my books, you can also find my books through searching that too.
And you can find me pretty much everywhere, social media-wise, as The Archon 606. And all video game platforms as Quick, QWICK_D_606.
Thank you so much for listening, everybody, and have a fantastic nerdy week.
Have a great week, guys.